guys, welcome back to another Wicked Wednesdays. I thought I'd do another tutorial that I did promise you guys a little while ago that I'd do, and I just completely forgot about it. So I thought I'd do this tutorial for you guys. This of course is a look inspired by the incredible Powdah. If you do not know who that is, I will leave a link to his YouTube channel and his Instagram down below. You should definitely check it out. His work is incredible. He mainly just uses scar wax, which a couple of months back I was lucky enough to actually attend one of his workshops at a makeup store close by. It was incredible. If you get the chance to do it, I would definitely recommend it. He was a great teacher and the stuff I learned there was priceless. So to get started with this, guys, you're going to need, of course, some brushes. This is just my big old bag of brushes. Fake bloods, some sponges, of course, Vaseline, a little spatula or a knife, something that you can of course cut the scar wax with. I'd also recommend an alcohol activated palette and of course the alcohol to go with it. Lucky enough for me, the scar wax is pretty similar to my actual skin colour of my hands, so I don't really need to colour the scar wax that much, but if you do need to, you will want of course a skin coloured effects alcohol palette. Of course, some modelling and sculpting tools. This is just of course to work with the scar wax once it is applied to your hand. This of course is not necessary, but if you do have some, it is handy just to have them nearby in case you do want them. Of course, a big old tub of scar wax. You do not need this much, just a small amount, as you'll only be using that on the outside of the actual wound. Now at Powdah's class, we were lucky enough, and he was very generous, to actually give us some of his own modelling wax that he has made. So I have got some whites, some pinks, some yellows and some reds that he was kind enough to actually give us. Of course, not everyone's going to have that, so if you would like to know how to make it, I will leave a link to his video that he just recently put up on how to actually make that modelling wax, which you should definitely check out. So go over there, guys, and check out how to do that. And of course, lastly, you will just want a rag to have nearby just to keep wiping off your tools and your fingers because it can get too much and you've just got Vaseline and scar wax stuck to your fingers. Okay, so for this tutorial, guys, I'm gonna take you down below. Probably not a great choice of words. I'm gonna take you down to the desk so you can see what I'm doing to my hands. Okay guys, as per usual, you will want to start with a really clean surface. So just give your hands a good once over wash. Make sure they're dried completely and do not have any oil or kind of sticky mess on them. I also completely forgot to mention, you will want some spirit gum. I find that this is actually the best adhesive to use when using scar wax. So as well, as per usual guys, you will want a reference picture to just glance back on so you do know that you're on the right track. I will just be looking at mine. If you do not have a reference photo to go by of a look that you've already done, you can of course always look up actual wounds. That's not always for the faint-hearted though, because they can get pretty goddamn gruesome. So if you are needing a reference photo to go by, you are more than welcome to actually go over to my Instagram and just keep looking at my photo for the reference. To start off, I'm just going to want to take the white modelling wax and just make the bone shape that we're going to use. Remember, you don't actually want it to be too high off the skin because then it just looks even more unrealistic. These looks can only really be seen from one kind of view, so this look is going to be directly from the top above. I will show you afterwards what I mean by this, as when you're building things up, it might end up sticking up about this much and then it just looks like a big old bulge on your finger. So some of these looks are more almost illusions that you can only look at from one direction. Just remember to always size it up on your finger so you do have a decent idea on what size you want it. Remember, you are going to want to do this over a join, or you can do it in between a join and just make it look like the bone's actually snapped. However, I'm just doing an actual join. So this is where this tool comes in handy. One last thing guys, before I do start continuing, always open all of the products that you need to use prior to starting to stick stuff to your hands, because a lot of the time you cannot open them one-handed and you end up ruining your actual makeup, so definitely go ahead and open them first. Straight down, just like that, and there you go. That is just one half of the bone bit that'll be stuck out there. Now time to just mold the other side a little bit. And you can see the thickness difference between the two of those, so you do just want to make this one a little bit thinner. If you haven't used any of these products before, definitely patch test them on your skin, just like any other product that you would be using. With spirit gum, if you have not used it before, it's just continually tap it until it starts to get stringy and it starts to dry, and that is when you can start to apply the prosthetics to it. That is when you can start to tell that it is ready to have something stuck on it. Once that's on, make sure it's stuck down. Now, as you can see on this, these are way too long. You will not want them that long, so just kind of cut down like this. Gradually take it away until right kind of size. So now just with some soft edged modeling tools, I'm just going to go and stick edge down to the scar wax. So now with the other colours, this is kind of a fatty tissue colour, more of a muscle, and this is kind of just a fleshy pinkish tone. You could have, before you stuck this down, which probably nearly would have been a wiser idea, but just break off some smaller bits. You just want to roll them out and just make small little balls. So just remember that, guys, that this is not like just to make different sized bits, as things are not perfectly symmetrical in the actual body. They may look it, but they're just slightly off symmetrical. So what you want to do is just start to build up kind of texture and layers all around the outside. So I'm going to do some like muscly kind of strips along the sides here where it would have been joined, and then around that just some pink and some yellow kind of blobs. You'll see what I mean when I get there. Just remember, if you feel like you need to add more spirit gum, go ahead and just touch up the sides a little bit. Mine's still just tacky enough to be able to apply this. Now I'm just trying to make it look like there is still some muscle actually attached to the bone. Now I'm just going in with the fatty tissue. You will find that you actually need smaller bits than you actually think you would for this. See if I can zoom in a little bit for you. And just rotate between fatty colours and the pinky tissue. I'm pretty happy with how that's looking at the moment, which it does look ridiculous at the moment, but these things really just come together in the last minute. If you have watched any of Powdah's videos, you will know that these things really don't look anything like it until you pretty much put the last little bit of scar wax on and start actually painting the whole thing. Big old tub of scar wax, get yourself a chunk of it out, which you can really feel the difference between the Ben and I nose and scar wax and Powdah's recipe for the actual modelling wax. His is a lot more firmer, so you will just want to reapply a layer of spirit gum. You want to just roll out the scar wax into some thin kind of sausages. You just want to pinch it and flatten it out. Now, scar wax is actually a pain of a product to use for the fact that it's very, very soft when it gets warm. So you really kind of don't want it to get overly warm. There's one side of it. So now with this tool and some Vaseline again, I'm just going to go along the outside and smooth it out. Now if you feel like you've got too much scar wax on there, just go in, take some off. So now that you've got a skin all the way around, you just really want to crispen up the sharpness of the edges. So I just decided I do want to colour it ever so slightly, just so I can make the tip of it a little bit pinker. So now just with quite a thin brush, you just want to apply some red to the deepest spots that you can. You just want to go through and paint just a light coat of red all over the wound, and just try and get into the deepest little crevices and add some dark tones. Now if you feel like you've gone a little bit too heavy on some spots, just put some alcohol on a brush and just clean it up a little. So now just with the sponge, I'm just going to go through, see what I mean, like you build it up on the side so it looks a little bit ridiculous. So it's more of a front-on view kind of thing. You just want to sponge the side a little bit just to take off any real shine. but I wouldn't worry too much as we will be putting blood on this in a second, so you will not really be able to tell. So I think my camera might have just cut out, but I just went and got a drop or two of dishwashing liquid just so I can combine it with the blood just so it actually sticks to the scar wax. So same kind of concept with the blood, put it in the deepest spots. And I have got some tissues handy just in case I do decide that I've put too much on and I want to take some off. Now another technique I learnt was just to scrunch up a tissue. So you got lots of little bits and pieces. And just dab that in the blood and do that all around. But there you are guys, that is pretty much the finished look. But I'll bring the camera back up to where I was before and I'll show you up there. So there you are guys, I'll try and get that in focus and me out of focus. So if you can see what that's like. That is pretty much the finished product. That is pretty much it. This is what I meant by side on, it doesn't really look very realistic, it just looks like an extra fat finger. But from the front on it does look like an exposed thing. This is more practical for just photos. I wouldn't really recommend doing this if you're going to wear it out because you have to keep your finger literally like this the whole night. You cannot bend it. Scar wax only bends once and then does not bend back how it should. That is pretty much it. You could do as little or as much blood as you want depending on how fresh the wound is. I'm kind of going bleeding kind of stopped, which I don't know how. But you could do this as a clean wound and make it with very little blood in it, or you could do blood dripping down your arm. It is all up to your imagination guys. So if you do recreate this look at all, I would love to see the photos that you guys do. So please tag me in it on Instagram if you do post it. I would love to see it. Also, don't forget to go over to Powdah's channel and go and subscribe to him if you haven't already. You will not regret it, I can tell you that much. But if you did enjoy this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you next week. Bye!